Rift jump error. These are not the coordinates that we were aiming for. Something interfered with the jump.
How far are we from the trees are moving?
Danger! It's a trap! I am detecting a lot of movement.
I didn't expect that. These creatures were camouflaged as trees. We have to be extremely careful around here. The flora and fauna in this biome are extremely dangerous. I didn't expect that. Vegetation in this part of the swamp is extremely dense. The jungle around our HQ seems like a forest nursery compared to this.
Based on my previous scans, we are probably walking above dark form roots right now.
Are you suggesting that it's responsible for this lush growth?
I think that is a possibility. Biomass density in this area is statistically above average by a large margin.
Interesting. Let's see what we can find at our destination. The weather's changing. Wind is slowing down. All wind has stopped. Our wind turbines are down. Mr. Riggs, are you sure that we're walking toward a small hill? We're on a rather steep incline, and we didn't start our journey at sea level. I've just seen glimpses of the Fungal Swamp River Delta in the distance below us.
I may have used imprecise terminology, Ashley. This is a small hill in relation to the broader Galatean landscape. However, when we look at the so-called Fungal Swamp area, it is the highest peak within its geographical borders.
Sounds like you were just improvising in the beginning, and now you're trying to be a smartass.
I am only trying to be more human, Ashley.
You're such a fast learner.
Wind turbine power production is returning to nominal levels.
From the destination.
We are about 2/3 of the way toward our initial red jump coordinates.
Okay, that's good. I hope the vegetation is less dense where we're headed.
That is rather unlikely, Ashley.
I know, but you can't blame me for having some help.
I can. That is simply bad logic.
They should have programmed you with some empathy.
My creators did not have empathy, so they could not program it.
Somehow, that makes a lot of sense. Over near the top of this mountain, is that smoke coming from beyond the edge? Is this a volcano?
That would make sense, Ashley, but I do not understand why the planetary scanner did not report that.
That might explain why our rift jump failed in the beginning. I just hope you didn't mistake the fungal resin energy flux for some lava flows.
That is highly unlikely. Volcanic activity would mostly produce thermal radiation. The planetary scanner picked up regular bursts of gamma rays with the same oscillation pattern as from the fungal resin's matter versus antimatter energy metabolism process.
Okay, that sounds reasonable. Is this the place that you marked?
Affirmative. My scans indicate that there is a large energy condensation within the area behind these rocks.
Okay, I can see a crevice that we can fit through. Let's see what is hiding on the other side. Okay, we've made it to the other side, Mr. Riggs. Are you getting better energy flux readings on this side of the wall?
Yes, I am picking up two distinct areas with high energy condensation. I am marking them on our map.
I wonder what we're going to see there. Those dark thorn tendrils that were sucking the resin from the great mushroom tree looked very intimidating, almost like an evil presence. Warning, hostile creatures are coming from a nearby nest. We should go there and clear it out.
Strong wind is blowing from the sea. Heavy rainfall is expected. Base is under attack.
The monsoon rainfall will force our solar panels to shut down, but wind power generation will increase. Weather is over.
Warning! Hostile creatures are coming from a nearby nest. We should go there and clear it out. Warning! I am detecting a lot of movement near our destination. Expect strong resistance, Ashley.
Roger that. Buildings have been destroyed. creatures were amassing around this mushroom tree, and the darkthorn growth is here as well. It's sucking up the resin.
Ashley, this resin tree is a part of the same organism as the great mushroom tree where we have built our outpost. Your theory was correct. This is just another fruit body of a single giant organism.
These giant fruit bodies produce a special resin that is insanely rich in nutrients and organic energy cells. The darkthorn seems to be attacking them, leaching the fungal resin.
This theory makes sense. We should learn more about the darkthorn to confirm if it can pose a threat to our mission on Galatea 37. We still have not confirmed if this is a natural parasite or some more recent mutation that could be dangerous to this ecosystem.
We have another point of interest remaining in this area. Let's check it out to see if we can find more answers.
Nearby, I am detecting a large group of creatures near our destination, Ashley. Prepare for a fight.
Roger that.
I'm detecting a change in wind power. This may affect our wind turbines.
Cleared out this nest. It looks very similar to the previous one. The local creatures were swarming around another mushroom tree that is entangled with darkthorn growth.
It may seem like there is nothing new to learn from this, but it is precisely what we needed. The darkthorn tendrils span out underground from both of these locations, and I can track the energy flux from the fungal resin that they are leaching out from the mushroom trees. It all connects at a central spot, not that far from here. I think we will find more answers there. Something strange is coming our way. I don't know how to describe it.
What is this thing? That was a very disturbing encounter. What was that thing, Mr. Riggs? It didn't fit here. It didn't fit here at all.
I do not know, Ashley. It did not have a clearly defined form, and it did not look like any other Galatean creature we had met before. I think it would be accurate to describe it as a multicellular colony with a central cell that was quickly divided into smaller, similar cells. The smaller cells were acting as both a defensive and an offensive mechanism.
I think it was drawn to our presence.
Most of the Galatean wildlife is aggressive to our presence. That is nothing new. However, I think that this creature was also aggressive towards the local flora. It was destroying everything on its path.
It looked like an embodiment of a living disease. Let's call this thing a Canceroth. This encounter can't be a coincidence. We're trying to track down the source of Darkthorn, and this is what we get?
You are probably right, Ashley. We should expect strong resistance.
base is under attack.
An energy connector has been destroyed. Warning! Hostile creatures are coming from a nearby nest. We should go there and clear it out.
This is it, Mr. Riggs. Darkthorn growth is everywhere around here.
I concur. We have almost reached our goal.
Building has been destroyed.
Creatures is coming from a nearby nest.
reached the heart of darkness. The Canceroth are spawning here. We have to destroy all of this corrupted growth.
A new group of hostile creatures is coming from a nearby nest.
technology has been developed.
New blueprints are available for crafting.
Detecting any significant hostile presence in the area anymore.
All of this growth looks corrupted. This place is like an evil, twisted version of this biome. There's so much of the darkthorn growth everywhere. Is this where it's been pumping all of the resin to?
The tendrils that we have tracked were all coming to this place. But it does not mean that this is the only site that has been contaminated with this abnormal growth.
I'm wondering if the Canceroth was controlling the growth of the darkthorn, or if it was the other way around.
The darkthorn looks like a mutated version of the thorn vines abundant in this biome, and the Canceroth layers look like they are attached to the thickest darkthorn tendrils. Evidence points in a single direction.
What if the Canceroth is trying to take control of this enormous fungus that spans the entire swamp?
How and why would it do that?
Think about it. An organism of this size must be too difficult to corrupt easily. You'd have to weaken it first. The resin is the lifeblood of this huge fungus. We've already seen what happened to the great mushroom tree when it lost most of its resin. It was infected with parasites and started to dry out. At the same time, the Canceroth is using the resin to multiply itself and grow in strength. If we don't stop this process, it can lead to disaster. This place is contaminated. We have to burn it to the ground.
I can leave a timed nuclear explosive at this site before we rift jump to safety. That will cleanse the entire area.
Yes, I think this is the best way to make sure it doesn't grow back. We have to return to the fungal swamp outpost as soon as possible. We left the darkthorn growth intact over there. Let's see what happens to it after we nuke this place.
Let me know when you are ready to proceed. The explosion is going to send out strong seismic waves, which could wake up the volcano. We will not be able to return here.
That's good. I don't intend to get back here. Let's hope we can save the fungal swamp ecosystem by burning out the rot in this place.
A new technology has been developed. New blueprints are available for crafting.
Base is under attack. Base is under attack.
I have visual confirmation from the planetary scanner that the Canceroth lair has been swiped clean by the explosion.
That's reassuring. I can hear that the volcano eruption is still ongoing. Nature will take care of that Canceroth abomination. It looks like the great mushroom tree is doing better after we remove the parasites. And the water around our outpost also seems to be a bit clearer.
All of these signs are positive, Ashley. However, the dark thorn growth appears to be mostly unaffected by our actions. It is still draining resin from the tree.
That's not good. I secretly hoped it would just wither and die. Can you try to trace the fungal resin's energy flux again? Is it moving far away?
All of the traces end close to our position.
That's good. Maybe we've destroyed it after all, and these are just the remaining parts.
We should destroy this location to prevent any further contamination by this organism. I suggest a 27 megaton fusion explosion at our outpost coordinates to eliminate any unnecessary risk.
No, we can't just nuke everything. First, you didn't even want to investigate this area, and now you want to obliterate it?
One of my priorities is to suggest the most efficient solutions. This swamp is irrelevant to our primary objective on Galatea 37. We should not waste any additional resources over here.
That's a bit short-sighted. Don't nuke the planet that you want to live on in the future if you don't have to. Please add that to your list of priorities.
How would you suggest to remove the Darkthorn then?
We can protect the Great Tree with plasma shield generators and precisely target the Darkthorn growth with heavy cluster missiles. They have enough range to cover the entire tree. And if we calibrate the shield generators precisely, then the damage should be minimal. The remaining thorn vine should die off without a resin source.
I think you are leaving a large margin of error, but we can still revert to my plan if this does not work out. Plasma shield generator in Zone B is operational. The mission area has been expanded. Please check your map. Ashley, I have bad news. I am picking up a few signatures that look like Canceroth. They are heading our way from the east.
Oh no. That means they must be spawning from someplace nearby.
plasma shield generator in Zone A is operational.
All of them. Do you know where they could be coming from?
Yes, they must be spawning from an island to the east. There's a large dark thorn tendril looming over that area.
It must still be connected to the great mushroom tree.
Research completed.
Let's go there and burn that Hydra. Island is like a fortress, and the Canceroth just passed through the thorn vines like thin air.
Stop complaining, Ashley. I told you we could just nuke this place.
Maybe we could use some regular nuke launchers. I think that would be justified.
I can hear distant thunder. The wind is also picking up. A storm is coming.
Very violent, but our base is safe from the wind. Wind turbine output is at maximum levels. I am not detecting any significant hostile presence in the area. Ashley, we've cleared out the Canceroth lair.
Good. It looks like the Canceroth, though, was directly connected to the Darkthorn tendrils. I hope they all die when we detach them from their source of resin.
Thoughts and prayers, Ashley. But do not worry. If your plan does not work out, we can always go with mine.
Your support is indispensable, Mr. Riggs.
New technology has been developed.
New buildings are available for construction. The storm is over.
First heavy cluster missile launcher is online and ready.
A new technology has been developed.
New buildings are available for construction. Cluster missile launcher number 2 is operational. third heavy cluster missile launcher has reached operational capacity. Hostile group of creatures is heading towards our base. Prepare for an incoming attack. With your plan, please head to our outpost building to coordinate the targeted missile launch sequence. I am sure that everything will work out just as expected.
This swamp is not working well with you.
No, I am fine. The smell of garlimonium makes my wires buzz with excitement.
We're ready to start the heavy cluster missile launch procedure, Mr. Riggs.
Acknowledged. Recalibrating plasma shield generators. Focusing all power around the Great Mushroom Tree. Power levels locked. Initiating coordinated heavy cluster missile launch sequence. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hard to see things clearly through all the smoke, but the tree is still standing, and I don't see any large darkthorn tendrils anymore. Let's take a walk around the tree to examine the results. The dense darkthorn growth on this side is gone, and the trunk of the tree appears to be mostly intact.
I am not detecting any intense energy flux from the Great Mushroom Tree anymore.
Hey, I think this part of the plan worked out quite well.
You might have been right, Ashley, but that does not guarantee that we have destroyed all of the Canceroth. We should monitor this area to make sure that this threat does not come back.
Oh, we aren't done yet, Mr. Riggs. We can't leave this organism in such a state. There's no guarantee that it will heal by itself. We have to bring it back to its full strength. Otherwise, it's like an open wound, waiting to be infected. Let's go to the other side of the tree. I have an idea. Look at the base of the trunk. This is the healthiest side of the fruit body. It's still dripping with resin, but it's not producing it fast enough to heal the rest of the tree. We can boost this process by transfusing more fungal resin into it.
That might work. But how do you intend to acquire so much resin? The Darkthorn has drained most of it from this area.
This fungus is spanning under the entire fungal swamp biome. The great mushroom tree is the largest fruit body that we've seen, but we should be able to gather more resin from smaller specimens that have not been attacked by Darkthorn. We can then transport it here through liquid compressors and decompressors. Can you scan for an area that could potentially contain some younger resin trees?
Please wait. I am recalibrating the planetary scanner to search for traces of the fungal resin's energy spectrum. I think you enjoy challenging me, Ashley.
As a matter of fact, I do, Mr. Riggs. There's no better way to spend the day.
Challenge completed. I found a remote area of the swamp, near the ocean. Quantum scans indicate that it is relatively young and should contain substantial amounts of resin. I have marked it on the planetary scanner interface.
Perfect. Let's go there as soon as we can.